Joe, obviously there was options out there, and a part of this process, right, is that relationship with the GM and not just the GM, but the people who are going to be over everything as you're looking into organizations you're going to be a part of. Like Fitz and I obviously have had the opportunity to have Brandon Bean on here and have gotten to know him over the years, and we have a lot of similar connections to some guys to the league. But like, how important was it to you to have that lockstep like connection with, hey, in the building, I want to build, if I'm gonna be the head coach and I'm gonna be in charge of this thing, like the vision I have for our football team and the kind of guys we want to play on it?
Everything. Like and maybe it's probably why I haven't gotten a job prior, but I always tell people, like, I don't want to just be a head coach. Like, it's not like, oh, I just want to be a head coach. I wanted to be a head coach with the right people and the right vision. And like, you go on these interviews and you know, they're interviewing you, but you're also trying to get a feel of them. Like, what's this compatibility look like? Or am I really going to be able to work with this guy? Is this organization that's really going to have the resources? And, you know, and you try to take advantage and look and look at all that. And the fortunate thing here is, you know, I've had an opportunity to work with Bean, right? And I know, you know, I know his communication style and how open he is, and knowing that he's, you know, he's all ears. And when he needs to make a decision, he makes a decision, but he wants the collaborative approach. And even as offensive coordinator, like, that door was open. And so, you know, we're in this thing together. And that doesn't mean we're not going to disagree on things, but, you know, we're going to go into a room, we're going to talk things out. And when that door opens, it wasn't my decision, his decision, it's our decision, and we're not looking back.
Yeah, you've talked about the role of being that CEO type guy and how important that is to an organization. I mean, what are some of those things, like even from a guy like Sean Payton? I'm sure you've been around some really special guys that, you know, maybe you took with you.
Look, I know that when you go from a quarterback coach, right? Yeah, you're coaching your players and you're with them. Then you go to the offensive coordinator and they're your unit, but you start getting further away. Then you're a head coach and you're just, you know, people tell me, you look around and you're like, where the heck is everybody? You know, you walk in the cafeteria and everybody kind of, you know, the chairs are full, everybody gets quiet, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's like, man, 2 days ago I was talking to you guys, you know? So I'm understanding of that, but I try to pride myself on trying to understand that there's not only one way to do it. And just because it works somewhere else doesn't mean it's going to work here in Buffalo. And we got to figure out what the best thing is for us. But and as that's going, just understanding the pulse in the locker room of what they need. And where with the things that I'm saying is not just the same thing over. And I'm not saying that's what it was. I'm saying is getting a pulse of the locker room and the direction that they need, and when to love them up and when to be really hard on them, and do that. And those are elements from coaches that I've been around, and understanding that I don't know what I don't know. Like, I'm fully aware. I've never been a head football coach, right? Like, the only way you become you get experience being a head coach is by being a head coach. Living in it. And so I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to grow with it. And I need to be able to understand and take that accountability and learn from it and grow, and surround myself with guys that I can feed off of and they can check me. And I think that's important. And same thing with the players. Like, I want that ownership, and that they need to know that it's not Joe Brady and the players. Like, we're in this thing together, and like, we're going to figure it out. We're going to go through it together, the good and the bad. And I need them to know that.
I feel like you already have the first part figured out, which is just authenticity.
Yep.
And as you know, like, guys can see through the bullshit. They can see through the fakeness. So you being completely you to those guys is going to go a long way. Let's just talk about the offense last year and kind of where you think this thing can go. Dalton Kincaid's such a huge part of what you guys do. And obviously he had the PCL and was kind of in and out of the lineup and fighting stuff all year last year. But how big of a piece will he be going into next year? And what are some of the improvements you think you guys can make?
Yeah, I mean, you saw the difference of what we look like when he's out there. And man, I give him so much credit because he was pushing through that knee. And you guys know when your body's never going to be perfect, but when you're sitting there and you're in and out of a game, what I can do just mentally, like, I want to be a part of it, and then I go have success. And then, I mean, you felt him in the playoffs, like, he pushing through it. And I mean, he was one of our best players out there. And you guys, when you have dynamic tight ends, just the matchups that it can do. And we had such a good tight end room, and you know that you can go 13 personnel and get in tight and run a duo, and the next play you're in 13 personnel empty, and you know it puts a lot of stress on. You know, I'm watching Sean kind of call the game last week, and you got two of the best receivers, and he's still able to, you know, take advantage of, you know, the matchups in 13s. And so I was pleased by, you know, some of the direction that we went with. We had so much jumbo the year before, and we drafted our tight end, and we kind of evolved the game and, you know, evolved our offense with that. But we got to get better on offense. Like, I'm understanding of that. And we did such a great job running the football. that it's got to continue to open up the pass game with that. And, and I got to do a better job of integrating the wide receivers. We did such a good job getting those tight ends going and getting the matchups on the insides, on the linebackers, the safeties, the nickels, and, but I got to get the wide receivers going a little bit more and not a little bit more. I got to get them going more. And, so that's going to be a big element.
Yeah. And when you look at that offense too, I know obviously, Aaron Cromer deciding to retire. I mean, what an impact he's been, I'm sure, in that building. I haven't been somebody that's played for him. I mean, one of the best coaches I've ever been around, but also that offensive line and his group. I mean, that's going to be something you guys have to address. And what's kind of the mentality there?
Yeah, look, I'm not sitting in this chair without Aaron Cromer. I know that. Man, Chrome is and that's part of the thing, right? We were able to run the ball so well this year that it's naturally, your pass stats are going to go down when you run, if it's, it should open up the pass. I'm understanding of that, but, we were able to run the ball and look, to me, the consistency, that you're getting, at the, obviously the O-line position and we had a lot of guys playing a lot of reps together and, I hope that it continues that way, but we understand that the way that it goes. But the biggest thing for me is that, I don't want, free agency and draft, you hope that you can get guys that fit the visions, what you're looking for. But we're going to build these systems around what we have, not just what we've done. And, I think that that's so important that, look, we've pulled tackles for a lot of years, but if we had Jawit, we're probably not running our tackle.
No, that's not happening, baby.
I'm going to let you stay on. I'm going to let you stay on the mid zone and just get him out of the way and kind of do your thing, man. And so
we're going to hip toss, use the golf swing. I'm going to get him out of the hole, and
that's it. And I'm good.
Baby.
We'll cut back, and you did your job. So we're going to make sure that we put the systems around what the guys can do, and and figure that out. And the roster's fluid, and I trust Bean and to kind of make the decisions. And I'm excited to kind of put it all together as it comes together.
I'd be remiss if I didn't, you got to talk about my LSU Tigers. Come on, man. Let's talk about 2019. Come on, baby. What a year. I don't know, Ed Orgeron, maybe just the energy, but, I don't know what you learned from him, but, what a passionate, what an insane guy he is, dude. Just his passion for football, but being around that group of guys offensively you guys had, what a special year that had to be.
I say it all the time with Coach Orgeron. People understand, the head football coach at LSU is looking for someone to run an offense and call plays, and he goes to get the coaching assistant in the NFL, a guy that literally does not I did nothing. You know what I mean? I just sat there and watched Drew Brees take notes and watched him do things. I saw Sean Payton kind of go through, but there's no way in hell I'd be able to do. I'd hire that. Right now, I wouldn't have the trust to trust my whole organization into that, and for him to do that, I didn't want to let him down. And I was so grateful for it. And he was the same person from the day that I first met him, the day that I interviewed with him, and until he was holding, what he deserved. And I'm so grateful for that. Don't get me wrong. I could have closed my eyes and called those plays, right? It's like one of those things you're it actually might be better if they're not good NFL players. I'm actually, maybe I was a better coach, but just so happens, it's the three highest paid players in NFL history. So really good coaching there. But yeah, it was special. Baton Rouge is special to me. LSU is special to me, and so grateful for that experience.